And we're live. Welcome to episode 16 of the RetroSlot podcast featuring JSniperton. Hello, Jay. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Why is it featuring me?
I don't know, because you're in the feature. I don't know. I make this shit up as I go. Why are you giving me a hard time?
It's like featuring JSniperton and me.
And me. And we're going to be talking about Pokemon Snap for the N64.
Yes.
And I can't wait to talk about that game. That's going to be a lot of fun. How you been, man? It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you. What's going on in the world of Jay?
Good. Last weekend I was solo dad for like a day and a half with two kids, and we have some echo. It's fine. It went all right. The kids survived. You know.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's the first step, I guess.
Yeah, and somehow, you're getting old when you just like hurt yourself doing normal people things, right? And last night I was kind of rolling around on the floor with my son. He was like just wanting to play, and about an hour later, my hip just started like giving me issues. Like every time I take a step, I feel like a dog who's got a hobbled leg. Like I can't put weight on it now. It's great.
Can you sit on it?
Yeah, I can sit. Sitting is fine. And then I don't know if we want to talk about this right now. We kind of talked about last episode my Super Mario Bros. First print thing, or at least when I thought it was first print.
Yeah.
And I sent it into WADA, and I don't have it back, but I did get I logged in and saw that they kind of classified it, and it is confirmed a first print.
Oh, okay. So that's good. And how about the condition? Did they
don't know the grade yet. I don't know if they'll put
Still,
it on
though, that was, you were questionable on whether you thought it might be a first print, but you weren't positive.
Right.
But now they have deemed confirmed. It so.
It says matte sticker seal on the classification, which is that's what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to find out how much this thing is worth. It is. To me, that game of all games being like very expensive, like being that rare, it makes sense. Like when you start breaking it down, like in the box. Of course, most people didn't have a box because it came in the system, and like, but also like it being a limited run because it only had the Nintendo Entertainment System had a limited release in New York. But that game being like the game that everybody had with the NES, Super Mario Brothers, being the most expensive and rare game is it's crazy. It boggles the mind.
Yeah. And I have another story to tell later about something that I thought was funny that you guys might find interesting. But anyways, otherwise doing good. How are you doing? You just got back from a photo shoot.
Had one team photo shoot that was like an hour away. So it was kind of a nice drive down to the shore. And I got to take my new car, so that was nice. I'm still putting, when you get a new car, you got to do the break in, right? You got to baby it. So it's so you like for the first 1,000 miles, not all cars, but this car in particular is 1,000 miles, and you got to just really baby it. You can't like rev it all the way out because you got to break in the rings or whatever car guys know about.
Are you talking about cars or significant others?
You gotta break in the rings. But any opportunity to drive right now is kind of fun on its own. And then it was a nice day. I had a nice weekend too, but I got sunburnt on one side of my head, my ear, and like my neck because I was kind of like sitting in one position for like multiple hours. No, like at a photo shoot.
Oh, okay.
And like didn't realize that I had put sunscreen on my face, but not on my ear. Or the back of my neck. So that was weird.
Briar needs adult supervision.
Oh, 100%. It's amazing they let me like out on my own. But yeah, I'm just happy it's spring. Like spring is in the air. I am 6 days away from being max vax. So I've had both shots, and the 2-week wait is 6 days away. And then I'm max vax, right? Like maximum vaccination. It's the best I can do. And that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
It's like a super max vax. Some weird video game that's going to come out 2 years from now called Max Vax.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. You know, it's perfect timing with the spring and with outdoor activities happening, and like I feel like I'm in a better mood overall. But that might just be because. Do you ever feel like in the springtime, like standing in the sunshine is like recharging a battery that has been depleted all winter long because it's
a little bit? Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And then I start sneezing, and then I just start sneezing and
Yeah.
sniffling, and yeah. Has it started to hit you yet? You talked last episode that it hadn't really hit you yet.
What's that?
The allergies stuff.
No, I haven't hit it yet. I did wake up like a little stuffy, but I took a Claritin this morning for the first time. I don't know if that was just because, you know, who knows, like regular old whatever happens to you while you sleep and you wake up like that, or if maybe we did have the window open all night, so it could have been allergies.
Yeah.
Once allergies hit for me, I'll close the window and turn on the air conditioners. But we have window air conditioners. We don't have central air in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the droning sound of air conditioners all fucking night. So
whoa, yeah,
it's just I actually put in noise canceling, those Apple noise canceling earphone things.
Yeah, the
AirPods.
ones. Yeah. Yep.
So I sleep with those in just to cancel out the sound, but it only does so much. But it's better than like roasting alive or having allergies.
That doesn't like hurt your ears to sleep with those?
So I only put it I sleep on the side. So one side is on the pillow and one side has the ear pod in it.
Okay. All right.
But no, it doesn't hurt. Although I often in the morning I have to go looking for it.
Like it's like stuck in his ear somewhere. He can't find it.
It's usually like in the pillows and the sheets and stuff.
Yeah. When you were talking about your car, I couldn't help but imagine you just like digging your butt into the car. Like, I gotta get my stench in the car. That's part of breaking it in, like getting your musk all
get
distributed.
The seat form to your ass.
It's a Mustang, right?
Yeah.
Do the newer ones have leather seats?
Yeah. It's got one of the things that came with that was an option. I just got it off a lot. I didn't like custom order or anything. But it's got Alcantara seats, which is almost like a suede. And I'm not sure I like it or not. Like, it's nice because it kind of keeps you in the seat when you're going around corners because you don't like slide across like leather. But
right.
I'm kind of picky about keeping cars clean. And I have a feeling that these are going to be hard to keep clean.
Could be.
But we'll see.
Yeah, that leather gets so warm in the summer and so cold in the winter because I have leather seats in my car.
This has got cooled seats. It blows cold air up your ass.
Everybody needs that.
Yeah. I wish I could buy an office chair that had that.
Woo!
I'd be a lot happier on these podcasts.
Why do you have a smile on your face the whole time? Hey, you don't want to know. Right. Is it a manual?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, do they even still make manuals?
They do, but I mean, they're getting more and more rare. My last car was a manual. It was just a Honda Accord, like sport version, but I had to look around. It was like 2 states away to get a manual. And they stopped making it altogether.
Yeah.
At a manual since then.
Mine's a stick too. I prefer it now, but learning to drive on a stick is not the easiest thing in the world.
No. Yeah, I just like, it's just more engaging and fun to drive a stick, I think. Much like I like to put a record on a record player and put a cartridge in a cartridge slot, a stick shift is, I feel like, part of that, like, that driving experience that, like, I drive my wife's car. She's got a Telluride, a Kia Telluride, which is a beautiful SUV. It feels like a luxury car to me. And it's priced like a luxury car, too. It was really fucking expensive. But that was the first car I ever rode in that had cooled seats, and I knew right away that this is something that I could not go without for the rest of my life.
I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I know heated seats is a thing.
Yeah. Hers has got a heated steering wheel, too, and it's the first time I'd ever experienced that. And I've always seen that. That's been around for a long time. And I've always seen them. Like, I mean, I understand that grabbing your steering wheel can be cold, but I mean, how much are you going to spend on getting it heated for you? Heats up. Well, it turns out it's a really nice feature.
sometimes you hold like 2 fingers worth of steering
Yeah.
wheel if you're on like a long drive or something. It's not like, yeah.
I remember when steering wheels used to be made out of like basically rubber, and they
Right.
used to be hot as sin in the summertime. You'd be like, tss, 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 tss.
Why'd you get into a car accident? I couldn't touch my
I couldn't
steering
touch
wheel.
the steering wheel.
Are you like a I'm like a stickler rule follower when it comes to driving. You know,
No, I'm not.
when you're driving, you're supposed to hold it at like 7 and or like what is it, 5 and 7 is the airbag thing. And then when you're little things, I literally think about them when I'm driving my car. Going through like a light, you're not supposed to like shift gears when you're in the middle of a light. Like if you're going through the intersection, you're not supposed to shift gears. You're supposed to have your decision like
Yeah.
made up before you get there. You're not supposed to change lanes in the middle of an intersection and stuff like that. Are you like a rule
Yeah.
follower in that way?
So in some of the ways you just said, for sure, like I don't shift in the middle of an intersection, right? Because like the theory I think is that you could stall a car in the middle of an intersection and cause an accident. So that one just makes sense. So I'll either like shift really quick into second, or I'll
Mhm.
just keep it in first going through the intersection. And not switching lanes in an intersection, I think, is smart too, because it's the same reason. But there's a lot of rules that I don't follow, depending on if I think I can get away with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you I can imagine if I had to guess, you're a speed up through a yellow light kind of person? Like
it depends
99%
on the
of the
yellow
time?
light. To be honest with you, like when I drove for 10 years, I had a job where I was basically a computer technician, but I was like a mobile computer technician. So I'd go to like different stores and fix like the servers in the back room or the point of sale devices. So I was driving all over the place, and in that 10 years, I think I did like 250,000 miles on the car I was driving. And I just became less and less of an aggressive driver. So now I'm mostly driving the speed limit, especially on the highway, and I'm mostly in the right lane, not giving a shit about like how fast I'm going or what's going on around me. I'm much more defensive than I used to be. Also, when I got a motorcycle, I became much more of a defensive driver
Yeah.
because you're so exposed on a motorcycle. I became much more aware of like looking at people's eyes and what they're looking at when they're driving, and they're
Mhm.
making decisions that could impact you. I don't remember the question. What was the question?
Do you speed up or slow down when you go through
Oh yeah,
intersections
it
that are yellow?
depends. If it's if I think I can make it and there's nobody else around, then yeah, I'll speed up. But like most of the time, I'll slow down.
I'm surprised how similar we are. My rule is if I can think about stopping, I stop.
Yeah,
Like if I have the idea in my mind I can stop or go, then I stop. Like
yeah.
almost always.
If it
Especially with
if
like
I got to slam on the brakes to stop in time, then I'm gonna keep going.
yeah, right. I've never been in a car accident. I'm a very defensive. I'm always aware of like every point, like both sides and front and back. And I'm always like you said, looking at everybody else's eyes and seeing where they are and
Yeah,
seeing like I'll literally watch somebody come up and I'm like, I'm not moving because this person's driving like an asshole.
yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna let them do their thing. And so but yeah,
But
been
I
in
love
worse
going onto
situations.
like an empty country road in the back roads and not following the speed limit. That's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world.
Well, yeah, and a Mustang.
Or a
Here's Briar driving
motorcycle.
exactly the speed limit. It's like
Oh, a
my
Honda
dad.
Civic. It's super fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anyways, video games?
Okay, we can talk about some video games. There's some really good news this week. Do we want to just jump into the news?
We can. Um, I think one of the first things, and I was going to mention, I actually picked up a retro tink.
Yes, you got the 2X. I wanted to know what you thought of it.
It's good. I basically spent a bunch of time researching the best option to stream, like to HDMI out
Yeah,
the N64, because as we've been talking about on the podcast, it's a point of frustration for me that there's like no really good solutions for N64 yet. Still, I think.
yeah,
But the Retro Tink is the best all-around option. There is the Eon N64 adapter thing. It's 150 bucks, but it only works for the N64.
yeah,
So I was like, it's too expensive to just work for the N64. So the Retro Tink basically is the same thing as the Eon, but you can use it for any system. So I was like, well, that's a good value option. and it's not quite as good as the like HDMI, the Ultra HDMI mod that you can get on an N64. But
Yeah.
apparently, those just the unit, like the board, is going for like over $300 on eBay right now.
There's a brand new one coming out like any day now.
Really?
Yeah, because the guy who makes that, he's like apparently he's just a space cadet. He doesn't like communicate with anybody, and he doesn't put them up for sale very often. So like nobody like really knows what's going on with that thing. So
Mm.
there's actually a group of modders who have gotten together. They formed a new company. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the company, but they're about to release a new HDMI mod for the N64 as their first project, and then they're planning on doing other projects as well. But it's
Nice.
going
Do
to
you know how
have
much
all
that
those
is?
the cool features. I don't think they've announced it yet, but I would imagine it's going to be somewhere between $100, and it's going to have all the nice features like deblurring, which is a nice feature for the N64, where the N64's output actually has a blur filter on it right out of the N64 because it was those low res polygons. Nintendo figured if we just kind of blur it a little bit, especially since it's going to be on a CRT, it's going to make everything just seem a little more rounded and natural. And I think for the most part, it did work on CRTs, but now on modern televisions, it's not very pleasing to the eye. It's one of the reasons that it's hard to look at N64 games in particular on
Right.
new TVs. And then also, it's going to have, there's an anti-aliasing effect they also have on this new HDMI mod, which is really nice as well, right? Because
Yeah. Smooths out the jagged edges and stuff.
yeah, low resolution polygons.
So,
But
yeah.
the retro tank, like you said, you could use for any console basically. You have that Turbo Duo that I don't even think you've taken out of the box, have you?
Turbo Duo?
Yeah,
Oh, it's a Japanese one.
yeah,
I found out that I can't run English TurboGrafx games,
really.
so I only have like a couple of PC Engine games. It can run both NTSC and Japanese. I don't. Yeah, and NTSC-J or whatever it's called. It can run both for PC Engine, but only Japanese TurboGrafx games.
Oh, really? So the card, like that memory card, it can only run
Yeah,
Japanese cards, but the
correct.
discs it'll run
Both.
Japanese or American. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So I looked deeper into it and I was like, that sucks. So that's why I'm gonna get the analog duo. Plus
Yeah,
the pocket's gonna have that TurboGrafx
yeah.
chip adapter thing, which I'll pick up.
The mythical pocket.
Oh, it's coming October or whatever. Yeah, we'll see.
So, what do you think of it so
Um,
far? Have you only
it,
hooked it up to the N64?
yes, it's good. It's not great. So the N64 HDMI mod, like I said, the only option to get one, like if it's pre-installed, it's like $600 to $800 on eBay right now. To get a card, it's like three. I was like, it's just too expensive. It doesn't make sense. But I think it was Metal Jesus Rocks did actually a side by side of the like Hyperkin cables, like the N64, Super Nintendo, GameCube cables,
Yeah.
then the Eon N64 plug and play thing, and then the RetroTink and the Ultra HDMI mod. So he did like a side by side of all four of those options,
Hmm.
and it distinctly showed the Eon and the RetroTink were almost identical in quality. The Hyperkin cables were just awful, but they
Garbage.
were super cheap. I mean, relatively cheap. They were like what, $50 or something.
I think they're like 20, 25.
Okay, yeah, cable like the color was bad and just it was muddy and all sorts of stuff. Eon and RetroTink were basically the same, and it's serviceable and it doesn't look fantastic, but it doesn't look horrible. And when you're streaming it, you just make the window a little bit smaller to compress the picture a little bit, and it
Yeah.
doesn't look too bad. But obviously the Ultra HDMI was just like super crisp. It looks like an analog output basically. It just
Yeah.
looks so nice. Um, but I'm pretty happy with it overall, and the fact that I can play GameCube games on it and stuff like that is great.
Yeah. That's true. You can use it for
The
other
fact,
things.
right? I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to get the RetroTink, what is it, 2X? I don't even know, 2X or the multi-format. But the only real difference between the multi-format and the one that I got, which was the Pro, is that the multi-format can natively push what was it, 640p, which the regular one can't. It kind of upscales it.
Okay.
So, but the reviews that I saw or whatever from RetroTink was like, you don't necessarily need the multi-format unless that's what you're focusing on is the
For what I've heard, the
3D
multi-format,
stuff.
if you want to get into PS2, the multi-format
Right.
is a good way to go. But if you're not interested in PS2, that's what it's mainly focused on.
Even like the one that I got does a serviceable, decent job of the PS2, GameCube, and all
Yeah.
that stuff too. It's just not optimal,
What did you
you
use
know.
to hook up your N64? Did you use composite or S-Video?
S video.
S-Video, and it's good S-Video cable?
Well, they shipped me. It came with one. Like I
Oh,
ordered it
okay.
on their eBay store, and it came with one. So I mean, it wasn't like a gold HDMI cable. It's probably like a $20 or $30,
Yeah.
S video cable.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
some
that
of
makes
the
much of a
old
difference.
I'm sure if they shipped it, it's fine because I just remember some of them were like they were thin as thread, like
Yeah,
they used to get back in the day, and it didn't look any better than a composite signal.
right.
Yeah, I've never used a RetroTink. I've seen them and I've seen the results in like videos and stuff, and it seems like a great device, especially like for Super Nintendo, Genesis, and the NES. It does a really good job with the NES, which can be a challenging system
Mhm.
because the video that comes off of an original NES is actually not that great. But it does a pretty good job with all that stuff. Are you thinking about upgrading to an HDMI out solution on the N64?
Not unless I can get one that the price makes sense.
Yeah,
And until I'm 100% sure and saddened by the fact that analog won't create an N64 at some point, then I might think about it.
yeah.
But the RetroTik, I was gonna say, if I had to rate it on a scale of 10, I'd probably give it about a 7.
Hmm.
The main downfall of it versus the Eon is that you have to plug it into external power, but it's like a
Yeah,
little micro USB. It's similar to like if you plugged in an analog system, it's the same cable. So
yeah.
literally, I just took the plug out of the analog, plugged it into that, and same with the HDMI cable because I had it. So
I
it's
use
not
a
horrible. It's
s-
serviceable.
I use a similar device called an OSSC. Uh, it's just made by I think it's called Video Game Perfection. It's I think a UK based company, but it's a similar kind of thing. It's got SCART component. I think actually I had to buy an add-on device called a Core U to get S video and composite. But now, I mean, our first news story of the day is going to be probably what's going to replace that for me because it's going to
Right.
be. I don't know if you just want to jump right into it, but
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah,
the RetroTink 5X was just released on May 1st, and of course it's May 4th today, so it's sold out. Obviously,
it
just
was
like
sold out
everything
like on the
else.
second when I checked it. By the way, like it's crazy how fast that went.
Yeah, it went
I
really
didn't know
fast.
much
People have
about
been
it, but
really looking forward to it.
if you want to talk more about it, I don't even really know. I couldn't really figure out exactly what made this so much better.
So it does a few things. It's made by the same guy who makes the RetroTink 2X that you have. The 5X refers to the amount of multiplication it can do. So instead of if you put a 240p signal into the RetroTink 2X, it outputs onto HDMI a 480p signal that your TV or capture card can then read, right? And that's one of the biggest things that it does. This can multiply instead of by 2 times by up to 5 times. And actually it can give you a 1440p signal, which is even sharper than a 1080p signal. So if your capture
Wow.
card or monitor can accept that signal, like if you have a 4K TV or something, it could do that. It also does automatic optimal phase changing. I'm just going off of the list of stuff it does. It does motion adaptive deinterlacing. This is going to be really good for PS1, probably more PS2 games that have interlaced games that ran at 480i. Whereas if you put a 480i, if anybody doesn't know the difference between 480p and 480i, the P refers to progressive scan and the I refers to interlaced. And a progressive scan, when it updates once every 60, like every time it updates, like say it does it 60 times per second, it it paints an entire screen. Interlaced, it paints half the screen by going every other line down the screen, and then the next update is the opposite lines. And that's really hard for modern displays to display correctly. It was meant for CRTs that were better at that. And this motion adaptive deinterlacing actually does a really good job of showing 480i video on a modern display in a really good looking fashion. That's one of the biggest things that it does. There hasn't really been a device that'll do that since the what was that called? The FrameMeister, which is no longer on sale. It's, if you try and find one now on eBay, it's like $500 because they stopped making it because the company that made it, the parts that were needed to construct it were out of production. They didn't make them anymore. So that's one of the biggest features. So if you're into stuff that has 480i, which there's a couple N64 games I think that do 480i.
Is that like the expansion pack stuff, basically?
I think so, probably, yeah. There's also, it doesn't drop when you change resolutions mid-game. So one of the big things here is like games like Resident Evil that'll have, the gameplay is 240p, but the menu is 480i, so they can get a higher resolution so they can show more detail in the menu to better show guns or ferns or whatever. A lot of capture cards, a lot of devices will just drop that signal while it kind of searches, like, what are you now feeding me? And it'll be like, 3 to 5 seconds before you get the signal back. And what this fixes that, which is a really nice feature if you're playing. A lot of people think about Chrono Cross because it does it all the time. Die Hard Arcade does it all the time. There's a bunch of games that do it all the time, and it fixes that. So it does a lot of really cool stuff, but it's expensive. It's $275. So
yeah, well, it says 300, and then it was crossed out, and then it said 275. Yeah. So I wonder if it retails for 300, and they just like the first wave they kind of discounted a little bit.
It may be. I think he said publicly, the guy who makes it, I think his name is Mike Chi, said publicly that, when he first started developing it with all the parts that are in it, he was expecting it to be much cheaper, but because of, what's going on in the world right now, it's just the parts that he originally spec'd are now more expensive than they were. So, who knows what it'll cost in the future. This is just one dude, right, making these things. Right. It's not like a huge mega corporation. So, he's really at the whim of other people a lot of the time. But I mean, it's a really cool device. I don't know if I'm going to replace my OSSC because so much of my gaming is now done on the Mister or on the analog devices that, it's the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, and the NES are probably the three that I play the most, but I mainly just play the analog ones now because it's so much easier to get good HDMI out of them. Yep. And they're just, like the NES, it's just way more convenient to have a cartridge slot that works like 80% of the time as opposed to like 40% of the time.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to comment too, you commented about the like switching resolution thing.
Yeah.
Pokemon Snap, when I was streaming it with the RetroTink, actually every time it would go from like scene to scene, it would literally like on stream, it would say like whatever it was, something not found, and then it would like pop up the
like signal not found or
signal not found, and then it would like show the video of like whatever cutscene or whatever. I'm like, that's just odd. It's just an N64 card. It's not like it's doing anything crazy.
It must be switching resolutions. I didn't play the cartridge. I played it on an emulator, so I didn't run into any of that. But yeah, that's exciting. It's $275 if you want to hook up old consoles to new displays. I mean, it's definitely probably a front runner. It is worth noting that the OSSC Pro is expected later this year. So the OSSC is what I've been using for the last year or so, and I've been really impressed with it. And I think that the RetroTink 5X is definitely a step up over the OSSC. But the OSSC Pro is also coming out, and both of these are FPGA based, so there'll be more features can be added as time goes on. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a little like a war of the, I don't know, what are these things called even? Upscalers. Yeah, it's a cool device, and it just got released, but you can't have one.
Yeah, the RetroTink stuff, it seems complicated and complex, but it's very plug and play. You literally plug your system as it's plugged into the TV. You know, you just plug it into this little thing in HDMI out, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done. You know, like it's not something crazy complicated or whatever. It's convenient. You know, you're not plugging the cartridge or the disc into the actual RetroTink, but it's just outputting from your system. So it's a good all-around option for anybody who has multiple systems that's looking for an HDMI solution that's serviceable and good value. If you're a person like me who likes value, the RetroTink is definitely something that I would look into
Yeah, the
100%.
2X is what? It's like $80.
No, it was, I mean, I think it's 100, but the one that I got on eBay came with the cable, and it was actually, excuse me, it's 129.99 retail on their website, but I wanted it faster. Uh, and I figured eBay might be a little bit quicker for some reason because I don't know why I thought it was faster,
Hmm.
but I did, and it came with a cable, and I think it was 150. So
Okay, I see. The 2X Mini is $80.
yeah,
So that's the smaller one that just does S video and composite video. Won't do component.
having component is a nice option for like if you think about like the Wii or the GameCube, if you have component cables, or
Yeah,
maybe
component
I
is
don't
a
know,
really nice signal. It's
PS3 or
pretty
something
much
like that.
pristine. What else we got for news
PS
today?
have HDMI. Anyways, that Castlevania Resurrection demo that we talked about last episode has
Yeah,
been uploaded for the internet to play.
did you check it out?
I did not. No.
Oh
It's a
man.
very short demo, and it says it's rough. Like everybody's like, "Yeah, it's rough." So I was like, I don't need to play it."
So it's a
But
rough version of a Castlevania from a particularly rough period of Castlevania.
well, yeah, and it's just the demo too, and it's
Yeah,
unfinished, and yeah, I was just like, could be fun for folks that are into it to check it out.
I'm definitely gonna download it and put it on my Dreamcast just as a curio. You know?
Yeah, you can actually, you can run it on the original hardware on a CDR,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
I have a optical disc emulator in my Dreamcast, so I'll just put it on that.
There you go.
The
Let
graphics
us know
aren't
how it goes.
bad.
No, not for the time, for sure.
Yeah. Not good though either, really. I'm watching a video of it. Yeah, it's meh. I don't really like those early 3D Castlevanias much.
I'm watching the girl run around, and it's just like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
It's rough.
It's just-
It's early.
but if you're into Castlevania storyline and all that stuff, it probably is interesting to you. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Next thing, the Konami Code turned 35. So up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, or BA start,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I always played 2 player, so I always know it. I remember it as select start,
Yeah, I thought it
and
was select start too.
nobody ever remembers it that way. I'm like, you must not have played co-op. Like, so I thought that was kind of fun. And what Konami did, they released this like this lo-fi beat thing to kind of commemorate
Oh, neat.
the 35th anniversary. So it's on the Konami official YouTube channel, lo-fi hip hop for chill, study, relaxing beats. So
Oh,
it's
I
got to be
love
like
it.
an homage to Konami games and stuff, I would think, and they kind of made it into lo-fi music stuff.
In the YouTube video too, it's even got that kind of lo-fi artwork like you associate with like the French girl sitting in her window doing homework or whatever. But this is
Yeah,
like a girl in a spaceship playing Gradius on one of the, the screens of the spaceship.
right.
That's pretty
Pretty cool.
great. That was nice of Konami. Konami's
Mhm.
kind of been shit heels lately, but we got actually a few stories that got a few stories that kind of give you hope for maybe a Konami that comes back around.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Evercade?
Yes. This
So
was
it started out,
this is the handheld console that took cartridges, right?
yes. So they created a console to go along with the handheld that takes the same cartridges.
That's smart.
And if I actually was like listening to a podcast with the Pat the NES Punk,
Hmm.
and they were talking about it, and they mentioned that a couple of the games aren't supported yet, like they don't have the licensing for it yet to play it on console that you can play on handheld, which I thought it was kind of funny.
Interesting.
But if you're into emulation machines, basically software emulation, in a handheld or in the Evercade, if you're kind of bought into this system, it would make sense to get the system. It's $100 and it plays like 99% of the cartridges that they've made. It's not something for me. It's just weird to like I find it to be a weird thing,
Mm,
personally, just to have these cartridges with random sets of games on them.
yeah, they
And
are random, aren't they?
it's just kind of a mishmash of different stuff.
It's weird
But
because you buy the cartridge, you have to buy a cartridge and insert it into either the handheld or I guess now the console. But it's like it's still running emulation, so it runs games like you'll have Atari ST games on there or 16-bit Genesis games on there. Like, it's just really all sorts of different stuff, whatever they could get licenses to, I suppose.
right. It seems like a decent, like, piece of hardware, like, the build quality is decent and
Yeah,
the price isn't bad and stuff. So, if you're kind of newer into retro gaming and you just kinda wanna experience a little bit of everything that's out there, it might be a good option, I think. But for folks that have been around for a long time, I can't imagine this is in their market. But a
I
lot of
wonder if
people really like emulation stuff and those kind of handhelds that can play a little bit of everything. It's interesting.
yeah, the difference though is that most of them you just download the ROMs, you don't pay for the ROMs.
Right.
It's just the weird part
But at
about
least
this,
this
but
is legal, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
So that's yeah. So if you're interested in the Evercade Versus, pre-orders start at the end of this month on May 28th, which I believe is like I sometimes it's Memorial Day weekend. I don't know if it is this year, but release is November of 2021, so holiday season. Can't get a PS5, get an Evercade Versus.
Oh, I hope you can get a PS5 by the holidays. Oh man, that would suck.
Yeah,
People aren't going to be able to get PS5s for the holidays, are they?
no, probably not. They're probably going to spike again in price.
Yeah.
Would be my bet. Because
Uh,
they've kind of gone down on eBay. Like you can get one for between 7 and 800 now, which is not horrible.
yeah.
I actually paid about I paid an $80 ish premium on mine to buy it from Sam's Club. Their
Mm,
10% deal. But all things considered, you think about an eBay seller selling a PS5 for $700. They're paying 10% in fees and PayPal fees, or I guess not PayPal fees anymore. So, but shipping and all that. So they're making max 50 to $75 off of it. They're not like raking in the money anymore after
yeah.
fees and everything. So it's not the
So the
worst thing in the
smart
world.
bet is to buy a bunch of them right now for $700. Wait till
No,
Christmas
no,
and
no, no,
sell them
no,
for
no.
1,000.
But if you can get your hands on them for retail, sure, hold a handful of them. But no, I wouldn't. Don't buy scalped just for the sake of scalping. Uh,
The Castlevania collection is coming to limited run games. I am super excited about this. This game came out 2 years ago now. It feels like maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I'm not sure. It was a while ago, but
digitally,
now it's
right?
digitally only on the Switch and the PS4 and probably the PC. But now it's getting a full release on limited run, and it's getting a bunch of cool ass collector's editions, which normally I'm not that into, but this one it's $175 and it comes with all sorts of really neat stuff like a shadow box that lights up and plays music.
Okay. I wanna
Uh,
look at all this. That's
it comes
expensive.
with retro box art prints of the first three games: Castlevania, Simon's Quest, and Dracula's Curse. You can get a version of it that has the Bloodlines edition that has a Genesis style box, like a clamshell box. It's got a book in
Dude,
it called The History of Castlevania.
this is like a retro Castlevania wet dream is what
It
this
is.
is.
It is.
It's like miniature replica of like all the Castlevania stuff included. There's a steel book. There's a enamel pin.
Oh, that enamel pin is so dope looking.
It is. I mean, it's really expensive, but you get a lot of stuff.
You do get a lot of stuff in there. I really like Castlevania. I usually never buy collector's editions because most of the stuff either is junk or I feel like I can't take it out of the box because like now I'm gonna lose the value of my
Mhm,
collector's edition, which I never
mhm.
plan to sell out anyway. So like, why am I
Mhm.
holding on? Like, I don't buy them. But this one I'm gonna, and I'm gonna take all the shit out of the box and I'm gonna use it and love it.
So looking at this reminds me, at the retro game store, they actually have like a legit copy of Kid Dracula.
Mhm.
They have it priced a little high. I would buy it if they had priced it at market, but it's like 200. They priced it at like 250.
Mm.
But it's prestige. It's one of the most rare Game Boy games, like regular Game Boy. It's super hard to find, but this just because it's on this collection, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, this collection is awesome. It's got Castlevania for the NES, Simon's Quest and Dracula's Curse, also for the NES. And Dracula's Curse is a phenomenal game. Simon's Quest, I don't love. A lot of people do love it. Then it's got Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo, which I just finished for the first time last year and really enjoyed. Then it's got Castlevania Bloodlines for the Genesis, which I've never played. I've only played like the first level just to check it out, but I'm really looking forward to biting into. Then it's got I think it's called Belmont's Revenge and Castlevania Adventure, both for the Game Boy, and then Kid Dracula as well. And then it's got all those, and it's also got the Japanese versions of all those as well. And there could be significant differences, like the Dracula's Curse, the Japanese version of that game is very different than the US version, and a lot of people say it's much better. So this is cool. I have this already digitally on my Switch. And it, some of these games like can be really difficult, and having like a modern version that allows you to save your state and put the thing down and come back to it later is really convenient. And it's all emulated very, very well. So it's just a really good package, even if you're not spending $175 to get the collector's edition. If you're interested in any of these older Castlevania games, which I really love, this is a great way to play them, if you get the physical edition or not.
But they do have a $60 like just regular edition.
Yeah. You can get the normie version too,
and you can get the NES cardboard box or the Genesis clamshell looking thing.
Yeah,
which looks
interesting. They have a
$35
version that has all the video games
like
in a Switch box.
Plastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, why don't they have Castlevania Legends in this? I don't know if you know about that game.
Was that the arcade one?
No, it's a Game Boy game. I was trying to make sure that it wasn't like
arcade games are on there.
I was trying to make sure that it wasn't like a remake of one of the games or something, but it says like it's the third Castlevania non-canon plot. Maybe that's why. But it's a super expensive cart now. It's going right now for north of $150 just for the cart.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a great collection though. There's some really awesome games. If you haven't played Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania 3, Bloodlines, any of those games are awesome. And the original Castlevania, I mean, it's still an awesome game.
Yeah. And we talked about it on I don't remember what episode it was, but
early episode.
Yeah. It's funny. I see the Super Castlevania 4, and the first thing that comes to my head is if you are looking for a Super Nintendo cart, do not get the assembled in Mexico version.
Why?
And if you see, you know how I feel about assembled in Mexico.
Yeah, okay, but there's not like something wrong with it, is there?
Well, just low quality. They have a made in Japan. They have a made in Japan version, and it has like the color manual, and it looks all sweet and it feels nice. But
that was one of the first Super Nintendo games I bought when I got back into collecting for the Super Nintendo. I had to get that one right away.
You know, if you have them made in Japan or assembled in Mexico version.
I don't know.
He's like, yeah.
I'm sure I have the Mexico version. What else we got?
The next thing, I slid it to the end because I'm like super excited about it. Did you look at this?
Oh my god.
The Game Boy has finally grown up to be the game man. Somebody created it's like 10 times the size of the original Game Boy. It's so gigantic. There's a side-by-side picture. And when you think about holding the Game Boy in your hand, it's not like it's tiny. It's, 8 inches long or something like that. And you have to hold your hand a decent width apart. This thing is like, you're holding it like you're holding a plate.
Yeah,
with your dinner.
It looks like a 6-inch thick iPad.
Like a large it's
and
he's got video of him playing it and stuff, and it's just the
awesome.
most
So this is a one-off.
bizarre.
Nobody's selling
Oh
this,
no,
right?
yeah, it's one person made it, but like it's just so ginormous, and he's got like an HDMI or like a not HDMI, an AV out on it. But I just thought it was hilarious. Just the picture of him holding it like he's dancing with a girl in 8th grade, you know, just like it's just so large.
It's awesome. I love it. It says Game Man on it too.
Mhm.
And he's running NES games on it.
Yeah. He's got a full color, like 480p screen.
It's comical watching him play it.
Yeah. It's like, how heavy is this thing?
It looks heavy. Oh, he's got pictures of the inside too. Oh, this is really cool. I think you can just look up Game Man and it pretty much comes up.
Yeah, on YouTube.
I love
Grumpy
that. That's
Modeler.
amazing. And the plastic looks so good too. It looks like a real thing. Like it looks like
does.
something you could have totally bought at like a store as like a display version of the Game Boy.
Yeah. I bet you could sell that for like a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, it's got a cartridge slot for Famicom cartridges.
Yeah, and it looks like it's the dimensions is basically what he went off of. Like, so he took, if you take the original Game Boy game dimensions, like width, and multiplied it to fit a Famicom cartridge, that's the dimension, like the difference in space from like the edge of the Game Man looks accurate. If you kind of shrunk it down, it looks like a Game Boy cart almost. So it's a
Yeah.
full size Famicom cartridge. I wonder if it takes NES too.
That's hilarious.
You can just throw in the back there.
Do you think it takes like D batteries?
18 double A's. He had to have put not batteries in that.
I don't know. There's a battery door. I'm sure
The
if I
battery
watched the whole
door,
video,
but the height of that battery door looks like it's 2 triple A's long.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I love people that do stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Fun.
I have advertisement for the new Pokemon Snap on the side of this page, actually. New Pokemon Snap. They couldn't even call it Pokemon Snap 2. That's how lazy they are.
Yeah, and the question was, leading into this discussion, the question was, is it a sequel or is it a remake?
It's just
And
new.
it was definitive that it was a sequel.
It is. Is it?
Yeah. Because
How is it
they
definitive?
literally
They said it.
they make homage to the original. Like Todd Snap makes an appearance in the new Pokemon Snap.
Who's Todd Snap?
He's the protagonist in the first Pokemon Snap. He's the kid. So he comes back as an adult, which is fucked up because they say like whatever 20 years later, but the dude's not more than, I don't know, he can't be older than 30.
Yeah.
Because the first one is a kid, and then he comes back in the second, he looks like he's 24. You know, it's like super young looking.
Well, through the magic of
Professional
Nintendo.
photographer. Sorry, I'm totally spoiling it because Todd Snap grows up to be a professional photographer.
There it is. So we played the original Pokemon Snap on the N64. I didn't play on the N64. I played on a PC emulator, so I got the extra benefit of having 4K graphics on my Pokemon Snaps. This is a game that I remember coming out. I remember like seeing this come out and being like, and reading reviews like this is a on rails shooter, kind of gussied up with Pokemon and the trappings of you're a photographer. You're not shooting anything. And I said that's not interesting to me at all because I'm not attached to Pokemon at all. So why would I want to play this? Playing it for the first time, I only just played it for the first time. I was like, it still doesn't really do anything for me because I don't have any affiliation with the Pokemon franchise at all. What I found this game to be was just a really boring on-rail shooter.
I'm so sad. Oh, it's funny because when I picked up the new one at Best Buy, I picked it up on Friday. The teller, who couldn't have been more than like I put him somewhere in the 20 to 25 range. He's like, "So what's the allure of this game? I don't get it." And I'm like, "Well, do you like Pokemon? Do you play Pokemon Go?" And he's like, "Yeah, I love Pokemon. I've played like a bunch of the games, and I play Pokemon Go and stuff like." I'm like, it's just a relaxed version and kind of like a chill experience of that world. If you like the Pokemon world and you're invested in that and you want to see them kind of in their natural habitat per se
Yeah.
and kind of brought to life and real life size and things like that, then it's just kind of a fun experience. I do describe it more as an experience and less of a game because they gamified just exploration basically. Like
Well,
they
they
put
gamified judging my pictures. Who the fuck is the professor to judge my art? What's he a professor of, and where did he get his degree? That's my question. This
well,
motherfucker's out here like, not a very good picture. You're too far away. You didn't get the front. It was an arty picture. It was running. The fucking thing was running away. How am I supposed to get a picture of the front of him, dick?
Well, you think about the things that you would try to teach a budding photographer, like it focuses on composition and size. And did you capture some kind of interesting activity that they were doing? And I'm so sad that you didn't get to experience, if you didn't play it very much. There are gamified elements of this where you have to do something and it spurs a chain reaction to do something else, and then it does something else, and then it spawns like a legendary Pokemon or something that you can't get otherwise. Um, which some of those things can be really convoluted. Like there was one level that I didn't know about, and you have to throw a pester ball at a Magikarp to get him to flop up to a Mankey who like flies away, and then you see them again, and you have to like hit him again with another ball, and then it like goes into a waterfall, and then a Gyarados comes out. Or
I think
just
you
like,
made up half of the words in that sentence.
no. Anybody who knows what I'm talking about, comment on the YouTube video and let me know that I'm not crazy. I might be crazy. It's fine. But the new game actually does a lot of that as well. So the new game, because I played some of that last night, it takes a lot of the original elements and makes them better. So just you have 4 picture slots per Pokemon. There's like 1, 2, 3, and 4 stars, and the stars are based on kind of like what activity the Pokemon's doing and stuff. And the quality of each picture again is like composition, and if they're doing something interesting, is it centered? What's the size like? All that stuff. Um, and so you can capture 4 of each or like keep 4 of each Pokemon, and the new one also has this photo editing ability where you can take your pictures and you can add little stickers, you can add backgrounds and
It's like
fun stuff.
Instagram.
Oh, it's great. And you can upload it to the internet and have other people like rate it, and you can get like little like emblems and stuff for certain awards and things like that. I don't know. I don't know how to describe why I like it. I like collecting stuff, and it's kind of like collecting fun pictures of this world that I fell in love with as a kid. So I guess if you don't like Pokemon at all, you're not invested in the Pokemon world at all, I can understand not liking it. But I feel like if you like Pokemon and the world in general, and you like kind of relaxed experience type games, think of like Journey on PlayStation. Everybody loved that game. It was amazing. I played
That
it. I
was
was like,
good.
I don't get it. Like, it's just you're like floating through sand and stuff. It was just weird, but it was more about the experience. It was like the music and kind of the art style and all that went into this experience, where if you're not invested in it, it's subpar. And I think the same thing could be carried on to a game like Pokemon Snap, where if you're just not invested in that world, it's not going to feel good to you.
I think that's okay too, man. It's like it's okay to have different strokes for different folks. Some
For us,
people are
by
gonna.
us, Briar.
What's that?
For us, by us, Pokemon. No,
Yeah,
for us,
man.
Pokemon. Us. I don't know.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like the new one too. I'm glad they finally came out with the long-awaited sequel to Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, apparently, I read a story about how it was like 3 or 4 years ago that it was speculated that it wouldn't even come out. Like there was
Really?
never going to be a sequel, is what somebody said. There
Yeah.
would never be a remake.
Well, how can they
So
not? There not be with the popular Pokemon right now. I feel like Pokemon is more popular than it's ever been.
yeah.
Which is saying something.
And the first one was well sold, well received, reviewed well, like 7s, 8s, 9s. And there's some interesting facts about it. I mean, like you could take it to Blockbuster and get your stickers printed out and stuff for $3 at a Blockbuster. Like it was an experience. Like if you were into Pokemon, it was really that beginning of merging reality with video game world. Like in my opinion, and it was the first game that had 3D Pokemon, which had never been seen before. So like all of these things added up to this experience where if you enjoy Pokemon, it was just kind of a fun thing.
And
I
Metacritic
can
says it had a 77, so it's generally favorable reviews.
Yeah, solid. I mean, there was stuff that was in the 8, 9, and then there's again people that reviewed it that didn't get it. It's just kind of how it goes. But there's some interesting things about this game, whether you're into Pokemon or not, that you might find interesting. The first Pokemon Snap was originally being developed for the disk drive for the Nintendo DD, and it ended up being scrapped when obviously the DD was canceled. But I thought that was interesting because there was other games that started on DD that just kind of like fell by the wayside. Like, what was so special about this one where they converted it? Also in that vein, it started out as a game that wasn't involving Pokemon at all. It was just generic photo game called Jack and the Beanstalk. And they didn't know how it was gonna like what the story was gonna be like and how it was gonna, and they're just like, oh, let's just put Pokemon in it. So they had like
ahead and say that was a good decision.
right. I mean, can you imagine playing this game when it was just like a photo game that wasn't like attached to any kind of thing? I guess.
I bet we wouldn't be doing a podcast about it right now.
Right. I mean, it sold millions of copies. So the original one did. Ekans, which is, if you didn't know this, snake backwards, Briar. Ekans.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
The evolved version of Ekans is Arbok, which is cobra backwards. So just kind of fun. It was Ekans was supposed to be the 64th Pokemon in the game because there was only 63 in the original, but for some reason they left it out. I couldn't figure it out why. I was like looking it up and whatnot. So they had 63 Pokemon in a game on the N64.
Yeah,
but it could have been 64 on the N64.
And they don't know why he was left out. Nobody knows.
No,
Somebody
I couldn't
knows.
figure it out. If you know why, please comment on our YouTube video, tweet at us.
Right?
I want to know. It's the first introduction of eggs in a Pokemon game, which is totally a thing, where you have to hatch and breed Pokemon now. And in that same vein, the Pokemon that hatched from eggs have never actually hatched from eggs. It's like the chicken and the egg thing.
Mm-hmm.
Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno, for the first and only time, came from eggs in this game. But like no other game do they ever hatch from eggs. So there was a question like, is it some other alternate universe or I don't know, it was weird. But I found that to be interesting. I know you probably don't care, but it was available on the virtual consoles for both the Wii and the Wii U, which is another reason why I'm like, why is there not a virtual console on the Switch yet? Like,
yeah,
come on.
Did they take advantage of the Wii remote at all, or was it just?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because I could see that being kind of neat.
And I found some people in that regard. There were some people who took this game, the original one, and put it into a VR setup.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of janky. But like you could move your head and look around, in the world.
Yeah,
which I thought could be interesting.
That was part of what I found so frustrating about it, because you had to pull like the trigger, or you had to like go ADS, and it was super slow.
So the new one, there's two good things about the new one in that regard. You can speed up the speed in which you're scrolling, and then you can also, and now I kind of want to go back and check the original, see if you can do this. You can hit the D-pad left and right, and it'll do like a 90-degree.
Oh, that's nice.
Like kind of like immediate.
I don't think that works in the old one, because the D-pad didn't even work in the menus. I kept trying to use the D-pad.
Right, exactly. That was one of I literally commented about that on stream last night, like putting in text or whatever. I was like, it's so nice to be able to use the control pad to put in text instead of the joystick. But you know how, just to describe it, in FPS games where you have a button that does like a 180, it's essentially like that, but it's like a 90-degree. So because in this game, it's all about kind of awareness and listening and being able to capture moments and stuff when Pokemon are doing something for like a second. So if you hear something, you could just like flip to that side and take a quick picture.
Start snapping.
Yeah, so that's a nice thing that they added to the new one for sure.
I was impressed that it allowed you to take 60 photos and like remember them.
in one level. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's a lot of memory. How is it doing this?
Yeah. And you could like you could load them onto a memory card and take it and print out your stickers and stuff. So
Right.
again, it was like this immersive real life to video game kind of experience that hadn't really been done before, other than maybe a Game Boy printer or something like that. But
Yeah.
um the last piece of information which I thought was interesting, the some of the Pokemon still use their Japanese voiceovers because in the US version of the game, which came out before some of the episodes had aired, like on the US TV show. So they hadn't voice tracked like the American actors to do the Pokemon and stuff on the show. So they had to like pull Japanese uh, voice voice stuff over.
Hmm. So, would you recommend to a new Pokemon? You just got a new N64, and you want to get the best Pokemon game for the N64. You go this or Pokemon Stadium.
Well, Pokemon Stadium is again something where you have to have kind of a precursor to it. So if you have not been invested in Pokemon yet, Pokemon Stadium is kind of a hard sell because Pokemon
That's
Stadium.
a brash assumption.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, like, Pokemon
Yes.
Stadium's biggest sell point was that you use the transfer pack with the original carts, and you could actually play with your Pokemon. So you can play Pokemon Stadium without doing that, but you're using like generic Pokemon number one. It's just not as uh, immersive, I think, as using the saves for like the actual Pokemon from your setup. So I don't know. I mean, and then there's actually a puzzle game called Pokemon Puzzle League for N64 as well, which is like a Tetris kind of
Yeah.
game.
Is that any good?
I haven't played it yet, but I've heard good things. If you like puzzle games and you're into Pokemon, Pokemon's into everything now. Like,
yeah,
just
the Pokemon game I played the most probably was Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy. I think it was Game Boy
It's a
Color.
fantastic game.
Yeah, and it had like a rumble feature. It was a pretty neat game. I still have that copy of the game. I had to
have it
clean it
for
because of the battery. I left the battery in there for, I don't know, a couple decades apparently.
There's one of those for the Game Boy Advance as well.
Was there?
Yeah, it's
But that was
Ruby
a
and
fun game.
Sapphire. Cool. Yeah. So I don't know if you like if you're into the Pokemon world and you just love kind of
Chances
the
are you are.
cuteness of Pokemon and that experience, then you'll like Pokemon Snap. But if you're not into that, if you don't get Pokemon, or if you only play Pokemon for battling or something like that, you might not enjoy it.
So next
have
week,
any?
no, I got nothing to say about this game. It's just not for me. I'm not into Pokemon. I don't want to shit on anybody. I don't want to like shit on anybody else's good time. It's just not for me. I didn't like the game, but it's not meant for me. It's meant to be like extended universe for Pokemon fans, right? It's like it's like fan fiction for Supernatural. If you don't like the Supernatural TV show, you're not going to want to see the fanfic for it.
Right.
But I am.
This just in, professional photographer shits all over Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not for me. And it's okay. It's okay that some people love stuff that you're not into. And it's okay to love stuff that other people aren't into. That's what makes us all different people. But this wasn't for me. I was glad I didn't buy it. This is the first game for the podcast that I didn't buy a physical version of.
Wow.
And I might still buy it just to keep the set going. But I know there's going to be a game that we talk about that's too expensive for me to buy. Right? So I think this is going to be the first one where I put my foot down and I say, no, I'm not going to put this in my collection because I'm never going to play it. Is it a yellow cartridge?
No.
Okay.
It's a great card.
Definitely not buying it. You got any pickups this week?
I do. So fun story. Well, I wanted to hold on.
He gone. He just took right. Oh, he's got a box. The Pokemon Snap box is right behind him.
Yeah. I do.
YouTube.
It's not in great shape. It's pretty beat up, but I mean, it looks in good shape because of the plastic. But if you look, if I can hit the light right, it's like kind of indented and stuff on the bottom.
Yeah,
I want to get a better shape one eventually, but yes, there's a good shot of it. It looks like somebody like set a bunch of stuff on top of it. And the card has like permanent marker on it and stuff.
It's usually pretty easy to get off as long as it's not on the label.
No, it's on the label. I can try to use dry erase marker on it, but we'll see how that works. Anyways, I wanted to tell a story.
Okay.
So with the whole Super Mario Brothers thing, by the way, just kind of circling back around, just so you guys understand the weight of having a first print matte sticker Mario game. Like, I'm guessing that I'll get grades somewhere in the 7 to 8 range. The box is not in great shape, but the cart and manual are fantastic, so it'll net it out a little bit. The last 3 and the only 3 that I've found on Heritage Auctions, they went for $9,300, $17,000, and $28,000. Just to give you an idea, and those were like between a 5.5 and a 7 in grade. 2 of them had the sticker still attached, 1 of them didn't. And those are all within the last year and a half or so. So I have no idea. Like, I don't know where the market is right at this particular moment, but it's a lot of money, and I spent $125. I'm like almost $600 in now because it costs like $400 to get graded. It was stupid expensive.
Wow.
Because they have to insure it. So they like the value of the game, they insure it based on like a percentage of the value of the game. So like, and I underestimated the value of the game too. So I could have paid more. And I wanted to get it graded quickly. So I did the like most expensive Warp Zone 3-day grading thing, because I just don't like having expensive shit out there for the world to mess with.
Yeah.
So the faster I get it home, the better. Anyways, kind of going in that same vein, there's a story that I have. So I own a Super Smash Brothers N64 that is sealed, and I'm currently showing it if you're looking at on it on YouTube.
Still got OG plastic on it.
It is actually, you can see the H seal a little bit. There you go. It is a legitimate sealed game. The story behind this is I used to be a member of 99 Gamers, and before that it was Guzex. Shout out to anybody that was back in those days, 2013, 2010, 11, 12. Those sites were incredible, and I got it for 250 points, which you could sell your games for points and then use those points to get whatever you want. It was a fantastic system. I probably only spent about $100 on those points because I would buy a brand new release game for $60 and then I'd sell it for 100 points or 120 points, because new release games were what everybody wanted and nobody wanted the old garbage shit, as like I thought people would think back then. So, but I looked this up, and a copy in this condition with dings and like some folding on the top recently sold for over $10,000 on eBay.
What the? Oh my God! You gotta sell that. You gotta sell it.
So, but
are you gonna sell it?
Story. I want to tell the story first.
Okay.
So this copy has some dings and it has some wear and some creasing and stuff on the folds. But when I bought it and I messaged the seller, again, I spent maybe $100 to $150 on this.
Yeah.
They sent me pictures and it was fucking pristine. Like a 9+ on the rating scale, not a single crease, tear, fold, anything. I messaged them and asked them, and I bought like 3 or 4 other games with it. And I asked, please, please, please ship it in a box and make sure that there is enough packaging materials to preserve the condition. It is very important to me. They said, okay. They sent it in a fucking bubble mailer with no protection, and it was bundled with the other 4 or 5 like GameCube games that I had gotten in the same bubble mailer with nothing wrapped around anything.
That's sad.
Like one of those big bubble mailers. And the reason that I remembered this is because I was trying to figure out the origin exactly and how much I paid for it. And I came across an email where I had like emailed support, and I was like, I asked them to send it to me in a box, and because it wasn't worth crazy money. I mean, it was probably worth like $250 to $500 back then. It's not like it was super crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But I literally like messaged support asking for a partial refund because it wasn't as advertised. And obviously it doesn't matter now. I don't remember. I think I got like 50 coins back or something like that. But obviously it's kind of moot now. But just thinking back on if I had gotten this in that condition that I remember specifically seeing, I would be sending this in for grading. It would be worth double to triple what it is now. Wow. So
can you hold that box back up to the camera? Because anybody who's watching the YouTube video, can we all just appreciate how corny that box art looks? Like, it looks really stupid. It says "Duke it out," and Mario, I don't know. It's like a 13-year-old's. It looks like the guy who drew Mega Man on Mega Man 2 graduated to the Super Smash Brothers box art. It's bad. It almost makes it better because it's so bad.
I know, corny. And if you look at Mario's face, I don't know if you can tell, probably not, but it's got that like textured, almost like paper mache kind of textured look. And it's not. That's not the actual paper of the box. That's like a photoshopped texture. I do have a complete in-box version that I can play, by the way, but pretty much anything sealed, I try to get a CIB or at least card-only copy so that I can play it, because I'm not going to be opening this.
No, of course.
Um,
you think you're going to try and sell it?
I don't know. Like, I'm going to worry about the Mario thing first, and then I'll worry about this next.
Yeah.
But I have other sealed games, too, that have just skyrocketed in price recently, and
really?
I'm just like,
what do you think is going on here? Do you think this is a bubble because of everybody's home with extra cash, or do you think this is just where the market is going?
Well, the sealed stuff, it's all been started by Heritage Auctions, and the price of that sealed stuff, if you go look at Heritage Auctions, it's free to create an account. You can look through all of their sold listings, and the sealed stuff, starting from 2 years ago, just like hundreds of thousands of dollars in good conditions. So this is people with FOMO.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, for this game, for example, I think it's just FOMO of like, oh my God, it's a sealed game that's an original and it's, in good shape. Like, it's got to be worth it. I think it's just like people trying to recapture this value right now. And collectors are like, oh my God, it's like gold basically. And so they're treating it as such. And they are rare to pick up. Like, sealed stuff like this is very rare. Like, it's not like people kept this stuff sealed most of the time.
No, so, why wouldn't you open a video game?
Yeah. It's like getting a #1 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic or something like that. Like, they were out there back in the day, but they're just really difficult to find now and stuff. So, and to find one sealed is like getting a graded one, or, a mint comic, or a mint Michael Jordan rookie card or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
that was another thing I heard recently, is that fucking all of a sudden sports cards are back. Like, sports cards have been worthless for 20 years, maybe longer.
No, I have a box of them that are now worth a good chunk too.
Yeah, I gotta, because I'm definitely bringing those in. I have in this closet here, I have all my sports cards from when I was a kid, because I used to collect baseball cards and stuff, and I've just held on to them because, like, they're not worth any money, like, all the way through the 2000s up till now. And now all of a sudden they're worth money again, so I'm going to sell them. I'm getting rid of them.
You get them graded.
What the fuck?
I think the majority of the time you have to get them graded.
Oh, that's
what I've seen.
But I'm going to do what I got to do, because trust me, it sucks to be moving them over and over again, looking at them, thinking I should have sold these things in the 90s.
You should ask me about it. Other than the fact that PSA is basically not taking any more graded cards right now, I think, but you can do, if the cards are worth under $250, then you can get them graded for like $10 a pop, and you just send a whole bunch in at once.
I've got a few complete box sets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the 80s.
From the 80s?
Yeah.
Some of those are not worth much, but some of them are probably worth a good chunk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mine are all specifically ranged from like 95 to 2000 basketball cards. I have like 9 Kobe Bryant rookie cards sitting in there, which specifically have been going up. But they're not in, like, they're maybe 7s or 8s if I got them graded. They're not like fantastic, but just, I wanted to share that story from a point of frustration and also like happiness. Like, it's worth a shit ton of money now, but it could have been worth more, kind of situation. Anyways, definitely a lot of wins for me in the last 2 weeks as far as video games.
Let's see some games here.
All right. So the first one, I finally got myself a nice inbox GameCube.
Oh, nice. Does that have the digital out on it?
Actually, I didn't look, but more on that in a second. So I spent like $120 shipped, and it came with Super Smash Brothers Melee and a good condition Wavebird with the receiver. So the reason that it was 120, and I picked it up. First of all, I got it quickly. Secondly, the pictures were horrible, but I read the description. So a lot of times what I do on eBay, and it's not necessarily something I'm proud of, but I'll buy first, ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that eBay works, uh, if you're not fast on the gun on a lot of this stuff, you're just gonna miss out. So,
Was it a buy it now kind of thing?
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I usually focus on because people don't necessarily know the value of what they have and things like that. And usually when things go to auction, it's around market value, and I just don't want to deal with that shit because I'm not looking to pay market value. I'm looking to get a deal. So newly listed, buy it now is my secret, and it's out there now. Enjoy. um, but you have to be quick and you have to know what's worth a good chunk. So I mean, like a GameCube in box in good shape is probably worth about what I paid, but this one is like mint, mint, mint. It looks almost unplayed actually, but there was no pictures of that. It was literally a picture of the front of the box and the back of the box. This is it. That's all that there was, and then a description that said what was included. But if you look in here, you can see the plastic bag of the GameCube. And so that's a good sign for things to be in good shape. Also, I looked at you could see the like serial sticker, and when serial stickers are in good shape, that's also another good sign of a good condition thing, even when the pictures suck. So I was like, all right, I bought it, and I was like, worst comes to worst, I sell Smash Melee, sell the Wavebird, keep the GameCube in box for basically free. Because if you sell, that would get Wavebirds are going for like $80 ish, and Melee is going for 50-ish. So I was like, hey, I got a GameCube in box for free. Awesome.
Yeah.
I get the GameCube, and I was literally about to leave, but I opened it up just to like make sure that everything was in there. And the first thing that I see when I open the box,
Get the fuck out. It's got component cables.
If you're looking at YouTube, it came with GameCube component cables. And for those who don't know why these are special, if you look them up on eBay, the lowest buy it now prices and what they've been selling for is over $300 for cables. These look unused, by the way.
Yeah.
So literally everything in the box, other than the Melee game, looks unused. Like the Wavebird's in fantastic shape. I'm like, I don't want to sell it because it's in great shape. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with the cables yet, but like the cables are worth $300 by themselves.
Yeah.
And like they're super rare. So I might
Well, do you plan on playing the GameCube, or because
I want
really
to
good?
Test these out. I want to test these out on the RetroTink compared to the like S Video and see how much better they are.
It's gonna be better. Yeah.
So because I've been wanting a good way to play GameCube games, so I might keep these for a while. It's not like they're gonna go down in price. So if I keep them and use them for a while, I can.
They are worth money because they're actually good. I don't think it's like some weird collector thing that it's only worth money because people, because it's I don't know why the collectors collect. Honestly, like, you know what I would say? Like, it's like what it's rare, so you want it more. Like those things are worth money because it's the best way to hook up a GameCube, unless you have the HDMI adapter, right?
Right. So I'm assuming there's a digital out on this. I actually didn't check specifically because I didn't really understand how the cable
You can tell by the serial number. I think it ends in a 001, I think.
How the hell do you know that?
Or the model number, not the serial number. My bad. The model number, not the serial number.
Oh, where would the model number be? It's probably on the thing, right?
You'd think it'd be on the box. You don't want to open it?
I mean, I can. It's just
I don't want you to do it on my.
Hold on. We got it. We have to get to the bottom of this.
The thing with GameCubes is only the early ones had a digital output.
Right.
Later on, they only had analog output. And
it does have digital out. I'm looking at it right now.
In the modern day, if you get a GameCube, you want one that has a digital out, so you can either hook those GameCube cables to it, the component cables, or so you can hook up a HDMI cable to it.
I mean, like, look at the condition of this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has the digital out on the back. So, but I'm just like super stoked to get this in such good condition for that price. And sometimes, so the things that you take chances on, for me, I take chances on new sellers. I take chances on sellers with very low feedback. I take chances on bad pictures and bad descriptions if I believe, because what you can do if and the controller's in like new condition too.
Is that that's the matching controller too? It
This
looks
is
like.
just the normal one. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Wavebird is in mint shape too. But what you
Wow.
can do if you buy something and then you look closer at the pictures or the description and it's like they missed something, or it's obviously a reproduction Pokemon cart, but they don't realize it or something, you can ask to cancel. And I try to be nice about it. You know, I'm like, it's going to be quicker and easier for both of us if you just cancel, because if you ship it to me and I have to ship it back, you're going to lose out on shipping fees because it's not as described and all this, that, and the other. I'm like, it's just faster if you just, and then if it's like a reproduction, I'll say like, hey, it might be in your best interest to put reproduction in the thing. But then they'll be like, oh, but the game works. I'm like, it's not about that. Like, collectors don't want reproduction games, and it's not worth nearly as much. So
I like
I
that
try to be as,
silver one too. The GameCube, the silver GameCube is really nice too.
yeah.
Most of them were purple or black. It seems like.
Yep. You can always ask to cancel later, and if they're a jerk about it, then you know they're just risking getting bad feedback and stuff. Just be nice, ask to cancel nicely, and usually, you know, not 10 times out of 10 they're gonna do it because they don't want to deal with blowback and shit anyways. So,
Yeah.
so I
I'd
was pretty
imagine
stoked about
keeping
that.
your seller rating is pretty important too, because
When they're a new seller, they don't generally care as much, but yeah, anybody that's been around for a while. So my next pickup, it's not like I was looking for this, but I happened upon a Pokemon Pikachu 2DS XL, or is this a 3DS XL?
3DS, yeah,
3DS
that's
XL.
adorable.
So these are going for like 400 plus right now in box, and I got it for 200. So
God
I
damn,
just was
those
like,
aren't even that old.
yeah. No, it's just, well, they don't make 3DS stuff anymore. Like they're not making anything anymore.
Oh, did they stop making 3DSs? That must have been recent
Well,
because they're
yeah,
still making
they're
them.
not making 3DS anymore. They're not making games anymore or anything like that. Um, And speaking of Pokemon, so I was at the game store and they just happened to have, they had literally, I watched them as I was there doing a trade in. I watched them put out a copy of Pokemon Blue, and I already have Pokemon Blue, but this is like grade worthy condition Pokemon Blue, and I just couldn't pass it up. So, and also while looking up values and the price, because they priced it at 369, and it felt a little high, but because of the condition, you know, condition dictates price a lot of the time. I was like, for the condition, it's right about where it should be, and if anything, I'm getting a deal. But while I was looking up Pokemon stuff, I got down the rabbit hole of Pokemon print numbers and realized that there's multiple print runs of the Pokemon games. Like I went down a huge rabbit hole here. And I found out that the one that they were selling was not a first print because it's got Pidgey on the back. And I was like, well, all right, still fine. And then I get home and I look at my Pokemon in red and blue, and mine are, my Pokemon red's a first print, and my Pokemon blue, if you see anybody who knows, Sandshrew is in this little picture here instead of Pidgey. This technically is not a first print because there was a typo in the description here that says like play the red version on the first print, and then they fixed it later to say blue. So this says blue, so it's technically a second run, but it's still an early print run. Anyways, I got down a whole rabbit hole there. Um, so yeah, picked up, and now I was originally picking up the good shape one so I could sell my other one, but I can't now. Sorry, my stomach's going crazy, so I'm kind of going through these quick now.
Are
I
you
got
hungry
Great
or
Greed.
you okay?
Hopefully, I can make another couple minutes. I got Great Greed for Game Boy, which is priced at 59, but I looked it up on the market. It's going for like 80 or 90.
Never heard of that, but the art is
Yeah,
awesome.
it's just, yep. And I got some manuals. I got the Great Greed manual. They just happen to have some manuals there. So I got a couple of manuals to complete my boxed games and whatnot. Let's see, I got like Lolo 2, Toki for NES. I got the Great Greed manual, Metroid Fusion, which is to complete a copy of mine, and then the Mega Man Battle Network one. And the reason I got that is because they had it priced at $9, but the cart for this is like $80 or $90 right now, and the manual's going for like 40 or 50. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll flip it and use it for something else. And then I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That was a
I was
productive
kind
week.
of rapid fire there. Yeah. I have some more stuff coming from eBay too that I'm excited about. So next episode, talk about that stuff.
The Pikachu, the 3DS is nice, but man, that platinum GameCube in mint condition, that's real nice.
This is actually in mint shape too. The reason they sold it is because they said somebody else gave them the same one, and they're just getting rid of this one.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically were getting rid of it at retail cost, but it's going for more than double that in box right now. So
nice.
I'm not gonna
keep it or flip it.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it for now, just because it's super cool. I really love handhelds too, and in-box handhelds are kind of my thing, especially within the last year or so. So definitely keep that for now. But yeah, you get anything?
No. No.
All right.
I have been continuing to play on my Mister mainly. So I have 3 game stores, like 3 retro shops near me. One of them is real bad. It's kind of like they sell most of the stuff in there is just kind of like it smells like a cigarette, and like it's dirty, and like you almost don't want to touch it, like until you clean it. Like it's almost all the stuff is in there like that. Every once in a while you run across a gem, but I don't even like going in there, to be honest with you, because it's kind of gross. The other place, the one closest to me, it's just so picked over all the time that there's never anything good. And when they do get something good, they charge a ton for it. And then there's another place that's kind of further away that is really small, but they only have good stuff. But it's kind of far away, so I don't go there that often. But I think I gotta make a couple trips up there and get some good stuff.
Yeah,
I only want to get the cartridges though, and like I don't want to buy the box. I don't want to buy the manual. I don't care about that. I just want the cartridge, especially for cardboard stuff, because I feel like every time I open the box, I'm like degrading it a little bit. It's like I suppose it'd be nice to have it on the shelf, but I have a copy of Zelda Link to the Past in the box that it was just sitting on the shelf, but it was kind of like I needed more shelf space. It was just kind of getting in the way, so I just sold it. I was like, I don't want it here anymore.
Right.
And I just I have a copy of the cart now, and not in the box anymore. I just got rid of it. I don't know. It's weird. All right, should we wrap this one up? It sounds like you're ready to go.
Sorry, yeah.
No problem.
I don't want to go, but I kind of need to go.
Next week we'll be playing Resident Evil, right?
Resident Evil.
Yeah,
I gotta figure out if I have director's cut for PS1. I gotta figure out if that'll work.
I think that works. It's just
not sure what's different from that than the original.
I think it has like rumble in the controller, and it uses the analog sticks.
Okay. Somebody was talking about not doing the GameCube version and whatnot because it's different.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see.
All right. So that's going to wrap this one up. Jay, where can people find you?
You can find me at JSniperton on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I stream typically 5 nights a week during the week and in the middle of the night. So if you're up late or up super early on the East Coast, feel free to come check us out.
Have you played any Returnal in your stream yet? Are you thinking about checking it out?
I don't know anything about it, so I should.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter or other fine podcasts like this one over on the DCP YouTube channel or your favorite podcasting service. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks playing some.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Resident Evil.
Nice.
Bye.